Hello. Today I will be showing you how I installed my quick weave lace closure with some cheap hair I got from the beauty supply store for about 83 bucks. That is the closure that I got. The closure and the pack of hair was they are two different brands of hair, but they kind of, intertwine perfectly together. Both are Bohemian curl. The closure is 10 inches. The bundles, I believe, are 14, 16, and 18 inches long. Here I'm just grabbing my quick blue bleaching powder and some 40 developer cream. Now this developer is thicker than the Clericol one that I usually use, so I did have to go in a couple of times and add more to thin it out some. Now we all know that we do not want a runny paste. I like mine thick, like really thick. As to when you pick it up, it does not move. And here I'm just spraying down some flyaways on the closure before I apply the mix. I am just applying it to the middle of the closure because that's the only part that it has. Keep in mind this closure was only 20 bucks, so it's strictly a middle part closure. I used the aluminum foil just to alleviate mess. I let that sit for about 15 to 20 minutes. And after sitting, I did go ahead and wash it off and applied my Shimmer Light shampoo and let that sit for about another 20 minutes just to eliminate any brassy tones in the closure. And the fun part begins, which is the endless plucking. When plucking this, be sure not to pluck too much because it is strictly a middle part closure. On the other side of this lace, there's tracks that lays beneath it, so you don't want any of that peeking through. So be sure not to pluck too much, but just enough as to where the part is a little more defined. And of course, you have to pluck the front to create your baby hairs. You also do not need a canvas block head. You can use a foam head, but the canvas block is the only one that I have. That is how it looks after plucking and bleaching the closure. Here I'm just taking some alcohol and some tissue and wiping them around my headline. And please excuse the way I look. After you let that dry a bit, you do want to pull your cap over your hairline. And that line is a good demarcation of where it should go. Now grab your free spray and get to laying everything down. And you see how that line helps you know exactly where to spray the free spray so it isn't on your hairline. And after that, just grab your blow dryer and blow dry for about 10 minutes, I'll say. Now after blow drying, grab your makeup or whatever you use to conceal the cap and start applying it. I am only applying the makeup to where the free spray is and the middle because it is only a middle part closure. So after concealing everything, you want to go ahead and place your closure on your head. I stuck bobby pins in the back of mine just to hold it in place for when it is time to sew it down. Just because I didn't want it to have it crooked or anything. And I will be grabbing my needle and thread and begin sewing. You can sew any way that you like to. This is just the way that I do it. I like to sew one side. I don't like to sew the entire thing in one go round because last time I did that, it did make it kind of bulky. And yes, I do have just traditional straight back cornrows underneath of this cap. As you can see, I'll sew the left side, then I sew the right side, and then I will go in and sew the back down also. And also be sure to pull your closure tight, like to the side when you're sewing it, just so it can be in the correct spot and it doesn't look bulky. Now I'm sewing the back of it. After sewing everything down, you want to go ahead and cut your cap. The part that's lifted up will be the part that will be glued down. So I know it looks crazy right now, but that part will be glued down. Here I'm just showing you how everything looks. And you want to go ahead and tie it back up. And you want to go ahead and go over it again with the free spray just to blend those little flyaways down that you got from cutting your lace off. Then you want to go ahead and blow dry it and make sure that it is completely dry. After blow drying, apply your glue. And I am applying my glue directly to where the cap ends. And just a little over the cap, a little onto my forehead. I'm going to blow dry that one layer that I do, and you can do multiple layers, but I only did one layer. If you do multiple layers, then you would have to dry each layer that you do. More layers is a stronger hold also. And here I am just setting that lace into the glue, and I'm going to blow dry it so it can stick. I recommend not cutting your lace off of your closure or frontal until you've blow dried everything down, because it kind of gives you a guideline as to where you need to stop when cutting the lace. If you cut it prior to it, that is fine, but be sure not to cut too much of the lace off. Pause. I know you're wondering where the black stocking cap came from. I went ahead and got a black stocking cap and put it over top of everything because I didn't want to glue everything down onto a new colored stocking cap. It is optional though, but I went ahead and sewed it around the closure and secured it in the back by sewing it also. Like I said, it's optional, but here I am attaching the bundles, and those are the bundles. I'll take my 30-second bonding glue and just start from the back in a U shape. Now I know everyone doesn't like quick weaves, but I've been doing them for a while and I haven't had a problem. As long as you wash your hair correctly after taking it down, then you should be fine. Letting conditioner sit on it and not just like ripping it out from your scalp, makes a big difference. So there's really nothing wrong with quick weaves, but I do recommend adding adhesive over top of the cap, like some free spray or some spritz, but I didn't do that because I'm so used to quick weaves and I know how to properly take them down. And just a little tip, you want to moisturize your hair extremely well when doing a quick weave. Underneath of this, I do have traditional cornrows, as I said, and I did moisturize it with some wild growth oil. And I'm just gluing and gluing and gluing in a U shape. Now as you near the top and get closer to where the closure is, you want to start laying a few pieces in the middle straight across. Do not continue the U shape all the way up. You want to lay a couple of pieces straight across. And you also want to go on the side and lay some pieces straight across also. By doing this, it gives it a flatter look. Do not continue the U shape. Lay them straight across in the middle and on the sides. After that, you want to go ahead and blow dry, just to make sure that everything is intact and it stays when you cut it. I'm going to go ahead and grab some scissors and push that pin through that I have at the top. And I did use a pin so I wouldn't cut any of the hair when cutting the black stocking cap off. You're going to go ahead and cut every little piece that you can see of the black stocking cap off. And as I said that the hair is two different brands, but it blends perfectly together, I'm going to go ahead and grab some water and dampen the hair down. And I'm going to take some of my Don't Shrink by Aunt Jackie and apply it to the hair just so it can have that wet look. And this is definitely worth the buy. I even use it on my natural hair, so it is like amazing to use. And I did get some shedding, but of course I'm going to get shedding because the bundles were only about $80, and I did a quick weave, which is cutting the bundles. So you're going to get a little bit of shedding. It's pretty much expected. Now it is finally time to grab those scissors and cut that lace. And you can see how easily the lace cuts off. You don't have too much lace and you don't have too little lace. That is why I recommend not cutting your lace off right away. I recommend cutting it off in the styling process. Here I'm just creating some baby hairs. After sectioning the baby hairs off, I'm going to take some Shea's Balm Edge Control and swoop those baby hairs. And I definitely recommend Shea's Balm on natural hair or weave. It works perfectly fine. And I will be doing the same thing to the other side, just sectioning off your baby hairs, cutting them, and taking Shea's Balm and swooping those hairs. Off camera, I did style it better than this, but for the sake of this video, I wanted it to just be over. And I'm going to spray some free spray onto those baby hairs so they wouldn't go anywhere. And I'm going to blow dry that down a little bit just so they won't move. I'm going to take a little more of that makeup and just add a little more to the part. And I kind of overdid it with the makeup, so I did go ahead and try to wipe some of the excess makeup out. And here I'm just spraying some free spray on the hair just to lay it down a little more. And that is the finished look. $87 bundles with a quick weave installment. I mean, I think it looks perfectly fine. I kind of overdid it with the makeup, and I did clean that up off camera. So there it is. Thanks for watching.